Divorce isn't therapy. It's actually war. It's actually a hostage negotiation. And your children are the hostages. Your wallet is the hostage. I'm a winning divorce strategist, an unbiased expert witness, a hero to my clients, and a villain to their exes. Welcome to the Stay Rich Show. I want to share with you 3 tips to get through this system and survive. Not just survive, but thrive and stay rich. Because at the end of the day, your lawyer is making a lot of money by dragging this out. Her lawyer is making a lot of money by dragging this out. And the last thing you want to be is your lawyers and her lawyers' college fund for their children. Because I'd rather you keep that money and have a college fund for your own. So rather than be the guy crying in the corner, I want you to be the man that wins. Now, the first thing that I can tell you is how to play the offer game. So when she files for divorce, you have an opportunity in that quick period between her filing or letting you know, I want a divorce, and getting out of the system as quickly as possible. And that's called offering the best offer. And I discuss this strategy in my book, How the Rich Get Divorced and Stay Rich, because this is ultimately the most effective outcome that you can look for. So in that period of time, in those weeks after she lets you know, you want to put down what your best possible offer is. What does this look like in terms of asset division? What does this look like in terms of alimony? What does this look like in terms of child support? How are the kids treated? What's the custody situation? You want to go through all of this with your lawyer and give her the best possible offer that you can make. And in that moment, you have that chance to present that sheet of paper, or those sheets of paper, and she's going to look at it. She's going to take it back to her lawyer, and you want her lawyer to be begging her to take this deal. You want her lawyer to fire her if she doesn't take this deal, because it's so good. She's never going to get something better. She's not going to get something better in mediation. She's not going to get something better in trial, where everything is up for grabs. And by making that offer early, it tells you where the litigation is going to go. It tells you where this divorce is going to go. Because if this is truly the best that you can do, and it's the best possible offer that you can make, and she says no, that tells you we're going to go straight to trial. Because you're not accepting the peace deal. Now we're going straight to war. That's how you play the offer game. That's how you get out and stay rich in the best possible way. Now, for the next tip, let's say that doesn't work. Or let's say maybe it's not your best offer. She calls your bluff. Delay. And in negotiation, at the end of the day, you want to put her in the position of saying, I just want this friggin' thing done and over with already. Because the more frustrated she's getting, the more annoyed she's getting with the process dragging on and on and on. And the more emotional toll that this process takes over time, the more willing she is to settle, right? So, you know, if she wants to inflict pain on you, she's going to delay this thing for as long as friggin' possible. She's going to drag this thing out and just grind you down. So as the man in this situation, you got to outlast that. You got to grind her down faster. You got to grind her down harder and delay. Ask for extensions. Provide most of the paperwork. Then provide all. Then ask for extensions again. If she's arguing about something, take it to a motion. Just create these barriers in the process to just increase the cost of having to drag it out. Not just financially, but I really mean emotionally. Because I don't want her happy in this situation. I want her frustrated, and I want her to get it done. So if she's having the time of her life popping bottles on a yacht somewhere in Miami, that's not the person that I'm going to get a good settlement out of. I want this person to be frustrated. I want this woman to be upset. I want this person to be angry. I want this person to be just begging to get it over with. And what better tactic is there than to just drag it out and make it challenging? Now, this all takes a certain amount of emotional mastery. And let's face it, you're going through divorce. You're dealing with grief. You're dealing with sadness. You're dealing with difficulty. changing circumstances, changing location, trying to interface with the kids, trying to co-parent them, ideally in an effective way. And I talk to all my clients about this when I'm dealing with consultations, and that is getting your emotions in check. This is having mastery over your emotions, because there's going to be narratives put out there that make you look bad. And they might be real or they might be false. I don't know, and I don't care, at least in this context. And you can't combat those narratives with words. In fact, it's a total waste of time. Spending time arguing with her about whether or not you were mean and angry. She's not going to get convinced that you were not mean and not angry. This is just a waste of time. You're actually falling into her narrative by picking this battle. So rather than doing that, you need to master your emotions. You need to show up and be calm, cool, and collected. You need to show up and be articulate and confident and not afraid of the ramification, and be able to set the narrative and talk about things in a credible way and communicate in a way that sticks. So you don't want to show up and be angry. This is not the time for drunk voicemails. This is not the time for angry texts. This is not the time to be chewing her out on email between lawyers and calling her all kinds of stuff. You might feel it, but at the end of the day, this is not going to get you there. This is the time to deal with things clinically. This is the time to deal with things logically. This is the time to accept the outcome, which is it didn't work, and embrace it and be happy for it. And just pay for your freedom and move on. So you want to be calm. You want to talk in a level way. You don't want to be stone-faced necessarily, but you certainly don't want to seem like an angry friggin' lunatic. You don't want to seem like a narcissistic sociopath. You don't want to seem like you're a psycho. You don't want to seem like you're emotionally melting down because her lawyer is buying Porsches based on your meltdowns. This is $1,000 per hour being blown on angry, rambling crap. These are key negotiation tactics. These are 3 things that will get you through the process way faster, and you will stay much richer for it. And if you want to dive into more detail, if this resonates with you, if you're going through a divorce and you're saying to yourself, God, I just need help in this world. I need somebody to help me. I need something to read that actually gives me guidance. You can finally get it with my book, How the Rich Get Divorced and Stay Rich, which is now finally available on Amazon. And the link is in the bio. And I promise you, you will get so much value out of this. It will completely change your life and you will stay rich.